Your broadcast. The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning. My name's Albert Kaufman. I am here to share with you this morning a little bit about an online tool called Nextdoor. It's located at nextdoor.com, and you can sign up for Nextdoor quite easily. And once you have joined Nextdoor, you will see this dashboard in front of you. You'll also notice how many people in your neighborhood there are, and how many people there are in the nearby neighborhoods around you. You can also create a profile, and you can do a bunch of other things. I'm a lead on Nextdoor, so that means that when I post something, I get a little lead list next to me and such, and I have some extra powers because of that, mostly just sort of watching over what's going on in my neighborhood and the neighborhoods around me, and weighing in on items that come up that might not, that shouldn't be listed on Nextdoor, people using the site improperly or being mean to each other, that kind of thing. Anyway, going back up to the 30,000 foot level, I wanted to share with you today a little bit about Nextdoor and why I think it's a really useful tool for everyone, really. I'm a big fan of bringing things down to the local level. If you've watched my work over the years, you'll notice that I more and more find clients who are in walkable distance, and I like to be out of my car as much as possible. And so I wanted to share with people how Nextdoor works and what I do with it and why I think it's so valuable. The main reason I think it's so valuable is that it is local. Most of us live somewhere, and ideally we would have connections with the people who are around us and not have to travel very far for food, clothing, shelter, friendship, community, etc. And Nextdoor is brilliant at doing just that. So I am going to just sort of show you around a little bit and show you some of what I've been doing on Nextdoor, and then also post this online, possibly get some feedback, and then, well, that's what I'm going to do. And I have a really wide audience of people who may watch this, so please excuse me if what I share with you is not exactly applicable to your universe. I work with a lot of people who are in marketing, and I also interact with a lot of people who are just my neighbors. And so I'm going to try to explain some of the valuable aspects of Nextdoor as I see them, and hopefully you'll find some gems within that. Okay, so just getting started. So if you are on Nextdoor, one aspect of it that I think I'll start with something that I think is challenging, and that is people often will post something and then the responses that come back are often can be very challenging to the person who's posted. So what I mean by that is that, I was watching a video by Ricky Gervais yesterday, and who's a comedian from England, starred in the English version of The Office and is a comedian. He's very funny. Anyway, he talked about, challenges that people have with information and changing their lives and things. And so when someone posts something on Nextdoor, for instance, it's sort of an invitation for everybody to react to it. And you're talking to, just like you are on social media, you're talking to anywhere from a couple hundred people to many thousands of people. And so you're going to get all sorts of reactions. And don't get too disappointed by what the response is. You want to try to keep the conversation upbeat, positive, and towards whatever end you're trying to go for. And I think that's true with all social media. Snarky, quick comments that are just in that put down the poster or make fun of whatever it is they're trying to do, I think don't really help this platform or any other platform. So that is what I would recommend on Nextdoor. So I wanted to start just by adding a post and showing you how that works. Here I am picking, posting a message. Underneath here, I can choose which category it gets posted in. Now, if I do this wrong and I post something in Lost and Found that should actually be in general, I generally personally choose the general category. But if you post in recommendations, you can be recommending a restaurant or something like that. For sale and free is kind of obvious. But anyway, I'll post in general. And then here I can choose whether or not I want my post to go just to my neighborhood. And what's interesting here too is right now it says I have 4,700 neighbors. When I first joined Nextdoor, I think 2 or 3 years ago, we were under 500. So it's really grown quickly. And I think the more people join this and use it, the more value, there's just a lot of value that people are seeing in it. For a lot of different businesses and a lot of different reasons. To me, it's the best organizing tool for on the local level that I've ever seen in my life, and I think that probably has ever existed. And just for that reason alone, I've been attracted to it because I'm a neighborhood activist and I like to try to improve things around me, and also to meet neighbors and to make a richer life for all. So I can choose to just share with Richmond, or I can choose to share with everyone in my nearby neighborhood. So if I want to choose with everyone here, I can also choose a subset of the different neighborhoods around me. So for instance, I can choose, just the ones that are nearest to me, or a certain subset, like if I just want to choose my neighborhood and the 4 neighborhoods to the east. Let's say I've lost my dog and the dog is probably moving east. I might post in a couple of different neighborhoods like that. If it's an issue that I want everybody to know about, I will choose all of the different neighborhoods. But generally, you probably want to limit your posting just to the neighborhood that you live in. And then sometimes you might want to post to more of the neighborhoods around you. So these are my choices for my personal version of Nextdoor. Some people are going to see something different than that. So let's say I'm choosing all of my neighbors. Actually, in this case, I'm just going to choose my neighborhood, but there's another choices here. You can see I can choose this group that I'm a part of, or I can also choose the various leads who I am one of in my area. So next up, I would pick a subject, and like with any kind of marketing or life in general, you want to pick something that's pithy and that will, if you're trying to attract a certain group to look at your message, you want to use the same kind of tools you would with email marketing. So you want to make a subject line that, attracts people, that's short and sweet. Sometimes starting a conversation like, what's your favorite TED Talk these days? So I'm a big fan of TED Talks. You might be too. So this could be a way of starting a conversation in your neighborhood to find out what people are watching and perhaps to start a book club. There's all sorts of reasons that you might want to instigate a conversation like that, and I'll just say, I'm watching this TED Talk and it's fascinating. And then I might go out and find a TED Talk. And let's say I'm going to pick this one, or pick this one. Here we go. And here I am. I've picked this TED Talk. I'm going to go back in here. And you'll notice if I post the link to the TED Talk, it will then populate the bottom area with a link to that TED Talk. And just like it does in social media, I can also remove the rest of this if I want to. I could add a photo here. If I do that, I think it'll probably remove the link to the TED Talk that I'm talking about. So that's it. That's all there that it takes to post something. Other things that you can do are you can add photos. So let's say I wanted to, instead of posting instead of posting this link, oh, it looks like maybe both of them stay. I'm not sure. But you can keep adding photos, so you can make yourself a little photo album if you want to. If you're trying to make a point, you can have multiple photos. So that's that. That's exactly how to post. And then if I posted that, then you would see it pop up in this news feed here. And that's basically that. So I'm going to see what's new. Here's somebody writing about property tax assessments. So you can see there's hundreds and thousands of different topics that might be interesting to people locally. You can also search for under categories if you want to find something. So for instance, let's say I was looking for a good auto mechanic. I might come in here and I could see what my neighbors have chosen as the best auto mechanic. And for instance, they've chosen Hawthorne Auto Clinic. And I agree. I probably have actually even posted something about them. So you can also learn more about that business by drilling down deeper. It looks like I've recommended this before. A lot of other people have as well. And then I can see their website and I can get their phone number and directions and things. And this is great because these people are 5 blocks from me. So how fantastic. I can just go and visit them and they are local. I could probably push my car there if I needed to. But another way to do this is, let's say you're looking for a plumber and you want to find a local plumber. You could just search for plumber, and what will happen is the recommendations from your neighborhood will come up, but you can also see conversations that people have started. Like for instance, this person started a conversation last year about looking for a plumber. And so you can see what other people think and drill down that way if you want to. It's also useful for things that are for sale. Here's a bicycle that's for sale. You can see that the person has reduced the price. You can look for sale under these various listings. So for instance, I'm a gardener, so I might want to go and look and see what's for sale under the gardening section. So that's fantastic too, because one of the challenges of buying and selling things locally is that locally can become something where someone's traveling 10 or 20 miles to go and buy something or sell something to someone else. Whereas on here, I know that if I go and pick up this free bamboo, it's only 0.6 miles from my house. So I could probably walk over and get it if I wanted to. So as you can tell, I am a big fan of local. And localizing everything just also saves us on gas. It saves us on time. It saves us on stress. It's all sorts of good. So there are a couple, there's a whole bunch of different categories that you can search for in here. You can also look for other things. You can look for groups to join, etc. So then I wanted to talk a little bit about what do you do once you've been at this for a little while. So here I'm going to look under my notifications and I'm going to see here is a topic that I started a little while ago having to do with young people around the country marching to protest guns and gun violence. So I posted this article on the 14th of March, and then people started to respond to it, and I've had about 125 people respond to it. Now, some people respond to it positively, some people respond to it negatively. You get all sorts of interesting commentary. And a key thing, I think, with this and possibly other platforms as well, is not to get too thrown by people who disagree with you or people who throw out other information that is may seem irrelevant or may seem tangential, because it's all, it's people's thinking. And so what I find interesting is that even if I disagree with someone or someone adds in something that doesn't seem exactly on topic, oftentimes it will help me shape my thinking so that I might take this information and then, for instance, take it and put it into a blog post. But you're living in a neighborhood, so everyone's not going to agree. One of the challenges of this platform is that there are no threaded conversations. Basically, every conversation just goes from person to person to person. And so there is, if a person throws a wrench into the conversation, it can be very distracting, but basically you just want to keep going. Another thing to know about is if you find somebody is posting something and you disagree with them, or if you just think that they're not someone who you want to be hearing from, you can actually mute them and you won't see their content at all. I don't necessarily recommend doing that too much because you may disagree with someone on one issue and agree with them on a different issue. And it's just kind of bad policy. That said, I have muted a couple of people, and I'm sure a number of people have muted me because I'm very active on here. Okay, so we've covered a few things. I'm going to now go into an area that I don't really even know how to really talk about, but I'll just show it to you and you can make up your own mind what I'm up to. So I'm going to search Nextdoor for beeping. I started a thread a couple of years ago on here, and let's see. So here it is. It's called Turn Off Your Car Horn, Less Beeping Equals Less Noise. And my concept here is that I was hoping that people might stop using their key fobs to turn off to lock their cars and at the same time have their car horn honk. And, some people think, okay, this is just part of modern day society. Personally, I think it's terrible, and I wish automakers would be fined every time this happened. But or somewhere in between. I would love to see car makers recognize that this is not a really good thing for society to have car horns beeping constantly. So note to you, if you have this set up with your car, perhaps you can figure out how to disengage that system. And anyway, so I posted this, let's see, in March of 2016. So wow, going on 2 years ago, and ended up getting 47 replies. So, since that time, another 10,000 people have come into these 13 neighborhoods that I live in onto this platform. And so what I will do from time to time is if I can find an article that is interesting and maybe add some new information to this conversation, I will add it in. So for instance, I did that on the 20th of March. I responded to somebody else's comment. She says, I have a rental car that does this annoying thing. Not sure I can do anything to change it. I can't stand it. It scares me. And then I suggested to her, check the car's manual online. And so that's, just my answer to her particular comment. But what that does is it sends this subject line out into the ether. And I will show you kind of how that plays out in a moment. But it sends this subject line out into the digest version of information that everybody gets that participates in this. I guess that wants to get that digest. But so for instance, the digest, here we go, comes to me and it looks like this. So here's my daily feed from from Nextdoor. And as you can see, you can see, okay, boom, here's what's recent on Nextdoor. And if I drill down and click on one of the things, I'll find, it turns out that this was something that I wrote. And I wrote about this guy's business, a pedal roaster, who roasts coffee and then he pedals it to your house, which I just think is fantastic. And I can tag his business, pedal roaster. Let's see, going a little off topic here. Let's see, I know he's in there. There we go. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I love him. So there you go. Anyway, I'm actually drinking some of his coffee right now because I am a fan. I like what he's doing. So my point there was that in the posts, I will see the topic that I had, that I had posted about 2 years ago will pop back up again. Thus, hopefully illuminating and educating and reminding people of this topic. And if you think that this is a topic that you want to do something about, feel free to grab this information and use it. But there's a lot of them, just kind of helping people figure out how to park, how to drive in your neighborhood. I've got one going on right now that has to do with city parking, which means that you pull up as far forward as you can on a block when you park. There's not that much more to it really, but it seems like people have a real challenge with that concept, and also with being told to change their behavior. I mean, I think we all struggle with that. There's more I could say about that. But a lot of my posts sort of have that kind of flavor. I'm actually trying to encourage people to do something a little different so that we have less noise and less glare from LED lights outside and other things like that. I also like to rip up most of the roads and turn them into gardens, but that's another topic. All right, well, let's see. Let me take a pause for a moment and gather my thoughts. And okay, well, I think I've covered some of what I had in mind. I think I'll stop there. And if you have comments or thoughts, or you would like me to show a different part of Nextdoor. Oh, one other thing that's useful is the inbox is a great place to, you can write to people individually. So instead of telling them, something that they did bothered you online in the newsfeed, you can just write to them directly, or maybe there's something that they wrote that, so for instance, here's somebody writing about a potato grower container. And does anyone have something like this? So, that's perfect. Like I could respond to her directly and say, yeah, it turns out we have a bunch of these big pots that you could use for that. I'd be glad to. And to do that, I would just scroll over her name, click on private message, and I can just message her directly and say, yes, I actually have these things. And so that's a great way just to correspond with your neighbors. I think that'll do it for today. I just wanted to do a short shout out about Nextdoor. If you're not on here, I've also got an article about it, which goes into some more of my thinking. And if you're not on it yet, really just hop on and you can see why it's valuable, perhaps quickly. And I'll probably talk a little bit more about strategy in a follow-up video. But for now, welcome to Nextdoor, and I hope you have a great experience with it. If you have any questions or comments about the video or what I do in the world, I'll be happy to talk to you, and I look forward to that day. Have a great one.